was a merchant ship that had visited Hawaii in the early 1800s. And when they visited Hawaii in the early 1800s, it was a great place for them. They were greeted by beautiful, half-naked or fully naked Hawaiian women who would swim out to the boats, would be happily exchange sex for iron nails, which were very popular, red feathers, big deal, because red's a royal color, or just for nothing at all, because really Polynesian culture and European American culture, the mores are very different. There were a lot of taboos, known as kapus, against what you could eat, when you could eat, who you could eat with, but not a lot about who you could have sex with or not. I mean, there were some, but it was viewed differently. It was a lot worse for a woman to eat a banana than to sleep with someone. So the sailors, this was like sailor heaven, right? Well, 1819, King Kamehameha dies, and sort of the kapu system broke down for a while, and then the missionaries come in 1820. And the missionaries convert the Hawaiians, basically. And so when the Wellington arrives in 1826, they're not greeted by these Hawaiian women. The Hawaiian women are wearing muumuus. I mean, whereas the Wellington wanted alcohol, sex, and sandalwood, the missionaries wanted souls and workers. So the Wellington guys are not happy. In fact, they are really pissed off. And they're like, fine, you're gonna make us suffer, we're gonna make you suffer. So they took all these barrels of stagnant water in which were swimming little question marks in the water, and they dumped them into the rivers in Lahaina. And they were mosquito larvae. Yep. So that is why. So every time you go, darn that Wellington. The mosquito larvae didn't like Lahaina streams nearly as well as the stagnant barrels, but they did okay there. And so later in the year, in 1826, some of the Hawaiians wake up and suddenly they hear this noise in their ears, they're scratching, they have welts. And imagine if you've never experienced mosquitoes before. I mean, we don't like them, but we at least know what they are. I mean, people were really freaked out. The missionaries knew what they were and practically smothered people by trying to make mosquito nets out of calico. So now we go back to my honey creepers that are dying like flies, or like honey creepers in this case, right? And people don't know why. Well, they noticed these strange infectious lesions, sorry, I always have trouble with that word, lesions on the feet and sometimes the bodies of these birds, and they thought, what's going on? Well, there's a doctor from India who was studying malaria and started looking at these honey creepers, and he said, oh my God, they have what's known as avine malaria. And most birds have an immunity to malaria. Mosquitoes can bite them, and there'll be a little bit of malaria, but not much. But these honey creepers have not evolved with mosquitoes, so they have no resistance, zero resistance, none resistance built up to these. And they were largely wiped out. But what's happened is they've moved up and up and up the mountains, because the mosquitoes are slowly climbing the mountains too. And this happens again and again in endemic island life, where slowly the life starts going up the mountains. So you can still find honey creepers at the top of mountains in Hawaii. Not all of them. A lot of the species have